All right, just want to show you guys I did finish wiring it up. I really can't test it out. It really needs the right tube. The article is a little misleading. They said you could use the original tube, but you got to remove this, change that, jumper that. And I'm not butchering this just so I can use this. So I ordered the tube, and I called bullshit on the whole article because somehow you're supposed to be able to get two of these in there. I use miniature inductors, but you put two of these 2.5 millihenry chokes in there, you won't have any room for anything else. What happened was this article, this here schematic, and was done in a box with a plug, with a wire and a plug, and then they went, somehow the article morphed into this, okay? And I call bullshit on it because I got all miniature parts in there and I barely was able to get it all to fit. But CQ Magazine's got some real messed up stuff, and I've been following all their conversions, and they have you gut stuff that you don't have to gut. None of the articles are well thought out. Okay, I guess they're done by amateurs rather than engineering people, and they have you doing stuff that doesn't have anything to do with what you're doing. You unplug a tube and that whole section's dead. You don't have to remove all the components. You know, I don't know. It is what it is at this point. I left my transmitter original when I built it all up and got it working. It's original, so it's 24 volt. So in order to use this adapter, I had to make a plug-in for one of the tubes so I have 24 volts, and that's because the way they have the tube shoot out the side like this, it gets in the way of the other tube and you can't plug it in. It wasn't well thought out, the article. When you look at it, and they don't show you this actually sitting in the transmitter in the way of the other tubes, or they tell you in words, you have to remove these two tubes, and then okay, it won't work that easily for me because my transmitter is original and he uses 24 volts for the filaments. They're using one that's done for 12, and that's because a lot of these transformers, let's make sure it's in the frame, a lot of these old transformers, this one's a new one, but the old ones, they have a 6.3 volt winding or a 12 volt winding for the filaments. So in other words, you have to redo the transmitter rather than use a separate 24 volt transformer, which would make it easier. But that's the way they did it back then. And that's why you have so many bodged ones on eBay. And there's one of these transmitters, it's a T20. It's up there, I think, for 240 bucks. The prices on eBay on command stuff, it jumped the last 2 months. In other words, you're going into the winter months, and these guys are good. They know how to sell. So in other words, they put the good stuff up during the winter months, knowing people will be bored. They'll make a bad purchase. And I'm noticing on the hatches, the little slide levers on the hatches, on some of the pictures, they've been buffed up with a little wire wheel. And then there's certain things they cleaned up, and there's certain things they can't clean because they're oxidized. And I go, now and then I go through eBay and look at what I bought and what they're offering this week, and the prices are way up there. And I didn't notice if it was the museum that sold me my stuff, whether they held back the better stuff, and they dumped the junk first, and then towards the end they want the big money for the unmolested units. And it is what it is. That's what I keep telling myself. This project, there's zero fun in it. It just keeps me busy. Yesterday I went out and I rolled that big wire spool all the way up the hillside over to a dumpster, only to realize it can't go in the dumpster. So I put it alongside the dumpster. It's not my neighborhood. And someone said to me, I said, look, I said, it's a new year, and I don't wheel this stuff home to my house and cut it up and put it in my garbage anymore. When I clean up an area, the garbage is going to go in their dumpster. I'm not bringing it home anymore because my garbage guy or woman does not come regularly. Some weeks they don't come at all. Nobody's showing up for work. So my garbage, I can go 3 weeks with a can. It's what they call it, a tote. I can go 3 weeks, and mine's always full to the top because I'm always picking other people's garbage up. And the neighborhood, as it transitions to more minorities, the dirtier it's getting. It's the honest truth. I've been here 12 years, and I watched it myself. And there are minorities that do keep their house nice, but there's really bad minorities that don't. And there's minorities, if you say something to them about their children being sloppy, they get mad. They don't say, I'll talk to them. Like the old days when I was a kid, an adult would say, I'll talk to them. Or they call them over right away and straighten them out. That don't happen anymore. You know, it's a spiral downhill. You know, everybody wants to live in a great neighborhood, but nobody wants to do any work about it. And as I'm out there picking up, people are beeping and waving to me, you know, because it makes it look nice. Okay, keeping the neighborhood clean. But if you didn't do that, as more garbage goes down on the ground, more garbage joins it. It gets real bad real fast. And while I'm alive and I can still do it, I'll go out and clean the neighborhood. But, you know, like I said, I have a lot of hobbies, a lot of them. You know, I make videos. I go walking. I work with different radios. I like to watch YouTube videos. I like to do a lot of reading, but I'm stuck with 2 hours at the end of the day that I have to have something like this to work on. Otherwise, I just sit there waiting for bedtime. All right? And that's the way it's going now. But I just wanted to show you, you know, if you ever go down this road, it's another one of those things, you know. You read the article and it's oh, you just stick this in, change this, readjust that, and technically it should work, you know. But I have to wait for the tubes. I'm not going to start butchering this up in order to use the old tube. But when I first read it, I thought you could use the old tube, but the old tube doesn't have a screen in it, and for gain. And this oscillator, I built this same type of oscillator once before, and I could not get it to oscillate. And I'm hoping I don't have that problem again. I redid the way the crystal was off the plate, and it worked. So there are options I have if it doesn't oscillate, but I think it's just because I used the tubes that didn't have enough gain the last time. And I have the ability to run this circuit out of the radio. I have a socket like this, all right, and it's like a proto board socket, and I can hook this adapter in there. Now I sit it on the bench, and then I can run different voltages to it, make it oscillate out of this unit. So it's a lot easier to do some testing, all right, and then once it works, then put it in this, okay. But I just want to tell you, you know, I'm staying busy with this, but I call bullshit on this article. Because if you had to put 2 of these in there, and based on the old capacitors, how big they used to be, you wouldn't be able to get them all in there. And what I realized is, if you go look at the unit where they have a separate box, it sits alongside the transmitter, with a plug that goes over and plugs into that socket, you'll realize you can see the parts mounted in there. And the person figured he could get it all to fit in there. Okay, but there's something that's different. The way the pins have to come up from the side or the bottom versus the cable that goes out to the other unit. Okay, slightly different mechanics, and that causes you not to have the extra room. I think that's it. All right, that's it.